Your body interacts with the motorcycle at 3 spots: your hands, your butt, and your feet. All those are really important to keep comfortable. Today we're going to focus on your feet. We're going to talk about the boots that I wear, why I like them, and some other ones that I've tried. So stick around here on Touring America.
Hey, Will Wyers from Greensboro, North Carolina.
So here we are back at 2017 again, and we're just about to kick off the riding season here in Illinois. I've been out once so far this year on an unseasonable 70-degree day in February, and we did about 30-40 miles. It was really nice, but I'm hoping that we just took a turn for the warm. I put the snowblower away, took out the block heaters from the vehicles, and hopefully we're ready to bring out the bike on a regular basis. I've got a trip coming up here in about 6 weeks, and leading into that, I want to talk about gear, and not just gear. I've talked about gear before, but kind of a bottom-up look at the things that I use and the things that I wear. So today I'm going to start out with boots. We're going to talk about the kind of the 2 sets of boots that I alternate between now and kind of what I use them for. And intermixed with that, I'm going to talk about some other boots that I've worn kind of as a comparison for these. So let's get in and take a look. So I've been riding bikes for a lot of years now and have been through a lot of different sets of boots. When I first started riding, I actually wore an old set of military surplus combat boots, kind of like I'm sure a lot of folks do, and they did all right for kind of riding around town and getting my feet protected. And I wasn't very serious at the time, kind of a casual rider, and those worked great. And as you kind of get more sophisticated in your riding and you move to bigger bikes and you ride longer distances on a lot different terrain, and you ride in the rain and you ride in the heat, a lot more factors you need to take into consideration. So today I've got 2 boots on the table here. They are both made by the Matterhorn company. Matterhorn, I was turned on to Matterhorn a few years ago by a friend of mine who used to do some military special forces type of work for the Air Force. And he turned me on to these, and I really liked them. And the ones on the right here are the ones that were my first set. They are a 10-inch set of Matterhorn boots. And then I've worn those for probably 3 or 4 years now, and they've got some wear on them, but they're still doing good. And then last season, I picked up a set of these 16-inch Matterhorn Miners boots. And we'll kind of go through and look at the differences and the similarities and why I like them both. So let's start out looking at these. These are the Matterhorn 10-inch kind of combat grade boots. We'll zoom in a little bit closer on those and get a start. So the boots that I was using for riding immediately prior to these were some city boots, SIDI, right? They're a popular boot maker for riding boots. And I got them off eBay. Like a lot of this stuff, I tend to shop around for good deals, and got a good deal on those. And I wore those for 1 season only, and I ended up sending them back. They were a waterproof, quote-unquote waterproof pair. They had some proprietary breathable lining in them. I can't remember what city calls theirs. But the big thing that I didn't like about those boots, let's talk about what I did like first. They were really comfortable, right? They were lightweight, and they were really nice and comfortable to walk around in. But they had a single zipper up the side with a flap that covered, right, that zipper, and they were quote-unquote waterproof. But they were a European fit, like a lot of these boots are, and they never exactly seemed to kind of break into my foot shape after a year of riding. So I wore those for a year and actually resold them. Like I said, I got a good deal on them. I got every penny back that I paid for them originally, so that's always a nice thing. And that's when I went to these Matterhorn. These are a size 9, and what I found is that these are a 9 medium width. The other pair that I'm going to talk about are a 9 wide width, and I do prefer the wides, although the mediums did break in for me over time. Like a good leather will do a little bit of stretching. So why did I get these? Couple reasons. Number one, they are a heavy, heavy leather. Right? The main job of a boot is to protect your foot. So if you're not wearing leather, in my estimation for boots, you're not getting all the protection that you need. If you go down, your foot gets pinned under your bike, you go flying, and your feet and ankles are going to impact the ground pretty hard. I know a lot of the motorcycle-specific boots will actually have ankle armor in them. These don't, because they're not motorcycle-specific, but a lot of them will, right? Protecting your feet, your arms, your hands, even your head, right? If you can't kind of walk around, it makes your recovery a whole lot harder. So I'm a really big believer in protecting your feet. So that was one, the really nice heavy leather. Number two, they've got a built-up sole. We've already covered in some of my other videos that I'm not the tallest guy in the world. I'm just under 5'8", and having a little build-up on the soles is something that I like to have. Gives me a little bit more reach, particularly with the Corbin seat on, which raises me up just a little bit, and I'll put the link out to that Corbin seat video if you're interested in that. So that was the second thing. Third thing I like about them, Gore-Tex lining. Not some off-brand, waterproof, proprietary, this, that, the other thing. They're Gore-Tex right inside. I'll give you a shot down in there, and the lining on them is really, really comfortable. Not a fleece lining, but a fabric lining with the Gore-Tex kind of sandwiched in between the leather and the liner. So those were kind of the couple things that drew me initially. Other things that I really liked about the boot is that there is a really nice wide gap between the eyelets for the laces. Why does that matter? Why that matters is if I have a set of thin or heavier socks on, or even double socks maybe for some of you guys, it lets me kind of pull on those laces and cinch that up tighter or looser. One of the things you get with a lot of the ones that are zip up on the side, like the cities that I talked about earlier, I actually had a pair of Milwaukee motorcycle boots also that had the zipper, and once you zip those up, right, there is no adjustment. The size is the size. With a nice set of lace ups, right, you can make them tighter, you can make them looser, you can tuck your riding tights or whatever you're wearing, long johns, into your boot and tighten up, and they give you a little bit more room for that as well. So there's a lot of things that go into this. We talked about the thickness of the soles, also Vibram soles, right? Having a good aggressive tread pattern is important. If you're in traffic, you don't want to be slipping on oil, gravel, anything like that. You want a good bite. And I can tell you some stories that I've seen with guys that I've been riding with go down in a gravel parking lot because they couldn't get good footing. So really, really nice. They are not really light boots, but remember, you're not going to be primarily using these as a walking boot. The military does, and actually I wear a very similar pair when I'm out on the shooting range as well, right? But on a motorcycle, I don't see weight as a big deal for my boots. If I walk, it's not that far usually. I'm mostly riding all day. So a little bit on the heavier side. They do take standard laces, so those are easy to replace as well. And you'll notice, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here on the toes. And you'll notice after 4 seasons or so of use, we are getting a little bit of, nicked up, cut up, scraped up, whatever it is, markings on the front of these boots. So, like any leather boot, they're going to wear. It's just the nature of the beast. Some of the motorcycle boots dedicated will have a double leather strip here across the front that is designed to protect from shifter wear and things like that. I've never seen on any of my boots having a shifter wear problem, but it's something that's out there. So as that leather wears through, I'll probably have to replace them because that's part of the water repellency and the abrasion resistance is having that front toe be intact. And that's something I'm going to show you that is addressed in the next set of boots that I got. But even the toes themselves, right? The toe piece wraps around the boot, and it's got a nice thick double layer of leather on both sides. These are actually the boots that I was in during my crash last summer with the deer. So these are the exact pair of boots that I was wearing, and they were great, right? They hardly show anything worse for the wearer. I do have a couple little chunks out of the leather here, but they didn't go all the way through. So they're working out really well for me. Next, let's take a look at the 16-inch mining boots. So these are the Matterhorn 16-inch miner's boots. Same great build with the leather, same lining, also Gore-Tex, right? If I don't have those 3 things, I'm not getting it. I simply will not buy another set of riding boots that are not Gore-Tex lined. Waterproofing is so important. If your feet are cold and wet, you're going to have a miserable day riding, period. And I'm not saying that you should get these, but my recommendation to you is if you live in an area that's not the desert, make sure that the motorcycle boots you buy have Gore-Tex in them. But they're also a size 9, but rather than the first pair that I showed you, which were a medium width, these are a wide width, and I found that to be much more comfortable. I didn't have to kind of break them in and stretch those sides out like I did with the other boots. Obviously, they're taller. Is taller better? No, not necessarily. Big difference here, right? If I bring up one of the old ones and put it in front of this, the 16-inch mining boot, you can see that it's a substantial difference. I said a 9 or a 10-inch boot compared to a 16-inch boot. But what it does do is it does give me more protection up my legs. Why does that matter? Well, sometimes I do wear, and I try to wear leather riding pants as much as I can, but when it's 98 degrees out, right, with 90% humidity, they're just miserable. Even the perforated leather pants that I have aren't the greatest. So I do have some denim riding jeans that have armor in them that actually were the replacement for the BMW Summer 2 pants that I ruined in my accident last year. When I've got something like that on that's got a little bit less protection, being the short guy that I am, these come most of the way up to my knee. So I get really good lower leg protection by having a tall, very thick, very sturdy leather upper based on this. What's the downside to that? Well, as I say, with no zippers and a tall boot, that's a whole lot more eyelets. What does that mean? What that means is when I'm done riding at the end of the day, right, and I pull into the hotel or you pull into the campsite and you're ready to kind of kick back and relax, it's a lot harder, not harder, takes a lot more time to take these boots on and off just because of the number of eyelets that you have to kind of lace and unlace. If you're like me and you try to minimally pack, that means that I'm taking these boots off, taking all my riding gear off, putting my pants on to go out for the evening, and then putting these boots back on. So it's like a twice a day on, twice a day off kind of a thing, where some of the other guys I ride with who do use the slip-on boots are like, they're waiting for me. Let's go. Come on. So that is a downside if that matters to you. But also share some of the same characteristics. This actually even has a little bit thicker sole than the other ones. But the big deal is the addition in the front of these rubber protectors. Right? These are mining boots, and they are steel-toed. And I know there's a debate going on out there, should you have steel-toed riding boots or not? And some people will say, well, you shouldn't have one because if your toes get ridden over or driven over, right, that steel in there can bend down and actually cut into your toes and not let you get your foot out. I don't know if that's true or not. I've never actually crushed my toe. But what I do like is that these protect the toes, which is really the main wear area other than the soles, from getting chipped up by rocks and using the controls on your bike. That was the big reason I liked them. When I can keep that front of that boot protected, it's also going to minimize the possibilities of water infiltration, right? This is a thick ribbed rubber toe cover. As long as I keep it in good shape, right, keep some silicone on that rubber, it's going to stay in good shape and I'm going to be able to maintain it and make sure that water doesn't get in at least through that area. They also fit up really high under my boots, right? Or under my pants, rather. So I'll show you a picture of that in a minute. I'll put those on and give you a look. So the big difference between the tall boots and the short boots, I obviously have the height and the toe protection and the steel toes. Otherwise, very similar construction. Neither one of them you're going to want to run a marathon in, but that's not what they were designed for. They give you great ankle support, great foot support, give you that little bit of elevation. Going back, it kind of is the last thing I want to compare to. As I said, I had a set of Milwaukee motorcycle riding boots that I picked up a number of years ago, and I wore them out. Right? They were a leather boot. They were a lace-up. Right? They were about the same height as these shorter boots. Lace-up with the zipper down the side. And I am not a big fan of those zippers because I don't care what you do to a zipper, water gets in. They infiltrate. Right? So I'm not going to buy any more boots that have zippers on them. It's just, in my experience, not worth the risk of getting water infiltration in through those areas. One thing I didn't talk about on both of these boots is, aside from having the Gore-Tex, is that the leather, right, and the Gore-Tex liner run all the way up the length of the tongue. up to the top. So that way, if water does hit the front of your boot, it's not going to sneak in right between the tongue and the upper part of the boot. There is a physical barrier there to keep that from happening. So Matterhorn boots, and I'm going to tell you, here's the best thing about them. Just like a lot of the stuff that I tell you to go out and look at. eBay. eBay is your friend with motorcycle gear. These were both new in the box when I got them. There's plenty of options if you want to spend even a little bit less money for used boots out there. I think I paid $45 new in the box for these short ones, like I said, 3-4 years ago, whatever it was. And I think I paid a little bit over $100 for the 16-inch boots. No, they're not dedicated, city, BMW, pick your brand, dedicated motorcycle boots, but you're also going to pay way, way less. Assuming that you don't have Godzilla feet, size 19.5 or something, these are going to actually probably work out really, really well for you. Very good money. So I'm going to go and I'm going to put my motorcycle pants on and show you what these look like under a set of pants. All right, so here I am. I've got one of each type of boot on either foot here. So on my right foot, I've got the shorter 10-inch Matterhorn motorcycle boot that I'm wearing. Actually, it's a combat boot, but wearing it for obviously the motorcycle use. And you can see that the laces kind of extend out for the pant a little bit more than the other boots, but looks, especially with these riding jeans that I've got, these Climb riding jeans, which I'll do in an upcoming video, they look great. Just kind of like a casual work boot that it doesn't kind of have that motorcycle-y look, which in combination with these riding jeans is great, because that's probably not something you're looking to draw attention to. On the other foot, I've got the 16-inch boot with the toe protector on it and the steel toe. And you'll notice when I bend, I know you might not notice, but I notice, right? It's a lot more rigid in the toe area, right? It's a little bit harder to walk in them. They have loosened them up since I've originally started wearing them about a year ago, but they're still significantly stiffer, right, than these, right? You get a lot more toe bend in that toe box area with the non-steel toe version, right? But both look really good. So I'm going to do now is I'm going to start to pull these pants up, and you'll really see how high they can go. You'll also get to see my great legs in the process, right? So these are the 16-inch boots, right? And I did not put on my tall socks to go along with it. So you can see they come just underneath my knee. I said I'm about 5'8", I have a 30-inch inseam. So I've got maybe 2 to 3 inches here below my knee that's exposed, but I got a lot of really good upper leg protection and great support. If you've got weak ankles and you're worried about rolling them when you put your feet down, this would be a great option. Where on the other side, all right, they don't go up nearly as high. Right? I've got probably a good 6 inches there up to my knee. So different boots, both same great manufacturer, same great leather. Gore-Tex, plenty warm. I've never been cold in either one of them, and I've ridden down into the 30s. Just put a good wool sock underneath it, and they're going to both give you plenty of long life. If you recommend another boot, go ahead and comment down in the comments area below here in the video, and I'd love to hear what you're riding and what you think of them. So stick around here on Touring America. I'm going to start working my way from the bottom up. So we're going to go over base layers, underwear, outer riding pants, and jackets. And then we will, hopefully, that will put us right in line with our spring trip. So until next time, this is Touring America. Talk to you later.